That gives me so much anxiety.
I know. Oh, thanks. Cool. That was Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Made a little. Oh, he can't hear you because I've got my earpods in. But he,
Okay.
I'll let him know.
I was thinking he was gonna. I thought he was gonna strip behind you.
No. He's been good. He's been hanging out with my mom and my sister, which is always
that's
like
nice.
a nightmare. You know, when you go hang out with your significant other's family, like when Joe leaves the room and I'm stuck with his dad, I'm like, oh no, 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 no.
Well, what's funny about my family is even if I leave the room, they're so trashy that nothing you say can matter. It just doesn't matter. Like, my sister came over a couple of weeks ago, and, you know, me and her have like an off-again, on-again relationship. So she came over, and I don't know who knows this on the podcast, but she has like a huge tattoo of my dad's face on her tit. So she was like dressed kind of, I don't know, scantily clad. Like she had like a tight fitting shirt and stuff. And it's funny because she was telling me about like seeing someone. And I was like, well, I figure that because whenever dad's face makes an appearance, I figure you're dating. Because she's always wearing low clothes and he's just hanging out like, hey guys, I'm here.
There's a third wheel.
Yeah, it's just like when he's hidden, I know she's not fucking, I guess. I don't know.
Guess that's her way of things are serious because that's her way of introducing the guy that she cares
she's
about.
Like, I want
her
you to
dad.
Yeah, she's like, I think it's time for you to meet my father. And she's like, here he is. Here he is. Just takes her shirt out. What a weird thing to do, to just get a tattoo of like somebody. I get it. It was meant out of like a loving place, but it's such a weird thing to just get like my dad's face tattooed right here. Like at 80 years old, what is my dad going to look like?
No, I know. And then also it is really, especially like when you're hooking up with guys, if you have a face of another dude on your body is always funny. I think Beth Stelling has a joke about how she tattooed her boyfriend at the time's name on her back. And she's like, do you know how hard it is to hook up with guys when you have another guy's name tattoo on your back? And she's like, it's not hard.
Yeah. I just watched her hour special. It was so funny.
Yeah,
guys, go watch Beth Stelling's hour on HBO Max. HBO Max is a little bit hard to get on stuff. Like I can't get it on my Roku TV, so I had to watch it on my phone, which I guess is not the end of the world. I get that there's larger issues in the world, but it's like HBO Max, get it together.
No, I mean, it's all right. You're allowed to have that one problem during the day, even during all of a mess of what's going on. I've been off the grid a little bit, and
do you love it?
I have, and you can't. This is what I like about being in the middle kind of the desert. There's nothing around here, is that you have no idea that the world is burning.
If you go off social media, you don't really know the world's burning. Like I was driving around the other day, and it's like nobody knows right now that everyone's fighting and mad and there's COVID. Like it just kind of looked like a normal day. Everyone's going about. It's like once you go online, and it's so weird. I'm incorporating. I'm like coming into contact with people online that are so stupid that it's like beyond. Like I wrote Black Lives Matter in something, and the guy goes, well, he said something like, well, Black lives do matter. And I'm like, yeah, who said they didn't? He's like, well, you wrote it, so I inferred that you didn't mean it. I'm like, what level of next kind of woke is that, where you're like just taking stuff and then meaning the opposite?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I just want to let you know, I think you're actually like retarded, and I'm not inferring that I think you're not, like legitimately stupid. So it's just like the internet is a crazy, awful place to be on, and it's just like you're better off without it.
No, I went on there for a brief moment today, and then because I've been off the grid a little bit, I am aware of like stuff going on, but then I saw a post that was like, if you're on vacation with your white family right now and you're posting photos of you on vacation with your white family, then you don't care about black people. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, what
I was going to say is
that's so crazy to say that, and it bummed me out.
Can you just bring like a cutout of Michael Jordan and put him in your pictures? We're like, I know we're on vacation. This was planned before the world was burning, but like Michael Jordan's here, so we do love black people.
I know I'm like, I do a thing once a month, and I donate charity to a Black Lives Matter cause, and then I feel like in my life I try to ask my questions, where can I help? And it's like making sure
enough.
I'm diverse enough with booking, and then I mean that's basically all I can do is just like donate money and then make sure I'm inclusive, and then make sure I vote for the right policies. But I'm like, can I not post photos while I'm on vacation without being labeled a racist?
Was it somebody that posted that? Because then you think that they saw your post, and then they were like, if you're on, so that's a direct
it felt like
tweet to you. They should have just tagged you in it. You should be like, at least if I am encouraging tweets or Instagram posts, at least give me credit for it.
I know, because I definitely was like this. Oh my God, I just about 8 hours later, and meaning like how algorithms or feeds work, she could have just hit my family photo that I just posted and just tweeted that or put that out on Facebook. And then I'm like, it has to be about me. How many white families?
It's definitely about you. Sarah, it is about you.
It's always about me.
Wouldn't it be funny if everyone's trying to be inclusive and on family vacations, you just go up to random family members and you're like, let's swap so we seem really inclusive of each other?
Yeah, I just am walking around town trying to get black people involved in our family photos so it looks like I'm being inclusive.
I think black people would not even like. I think if you tried doing that, they would be like, please get away from us. We want nothing to do with you. So good luck trying to do that, Sarah. You're going to get called racist either way.
I know. It's so infuriating. So I had to go offline. I was like, it really made me bummed that somebody expressed that opinion. But you know what? Like, they're allowed to have that opinion, and I can not take it as a direct hit, and that's fine. But it was absolutely ludicrous.
But maybe they're going to say, if you brought it up to them, they'd probably be like, well, not you.
Yeah.
Is it someone you're close to?
Yeah, it's someone we know. It's a booker.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear who it is.
Yeah, well,
I think I know who it is.
She's a really nice person, and I like her. But it was definitely like, what is
something?
this?
You know what might have happened though? She might have just thought like that's a funny tweet.
Yeah, you never know.
And then she was like, hopefully Sarah's too busy enjoying her vacation with her white family, and she won't see this. You're like, I can't help who my family is. Well, can you just adopt random people into your family once you're older?
To make everyone happy online? It's so hard to make people happy online.
You can't. I mean, I'll say this. There are some rational people online that you can have a conversation with. It's very rare. It is very, very rare. But it's so difficult. And then it's like, do you just block people? Like, that's the thing. It's like, do you block people? Do you let them say their piece? Do you let them feel like they're heard? Do you confront them and ask them to come to your house with the duel and like with the sword and duel? Like, what is the correct way? Is it to just be like, I'm shutting you down? I remember Che had a really funny thing that he wrote on some social media thing where he's like, yeah, I'm going to block whoever I want. This is a dictatorship. It's not like a democracy on my page. And I forget what that was on, maybe Facebook at the time. This is a lot of years ago, but I thought that was so fitting. Like, just because you have access to me, it doesn't mean that I have to put up with whatever garbage you're saying to me.
Yeah, where you're like, I don't know, for the one brief moment, my whatever Instagram is my little happy area where I want to just post whatever I want. Now, and I also feel like a lot of things on social media to post are just like pointless. I felt really dumb during that Black Square ordeal. I think I put that thing up like 4 times. Remember?
Because and then we got yelled. Did you get yelled at? Because we got yelled at for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, we were cluttering the BLM movement with the Black Square, and I was like, but I thought that's what we were supposed to do. What about that black and white photo as women we were supposed to take and say that we were brave? And then I was like,
I never did it.
Good. What is that?
Also, though, no one even asked me to do it. So I was like, this hurts my feelings a little bit that no one even likes me because not one person asked me to do it. It's so funny. Not one person was like, hey, I don't even remember what it was. I thought it'd be funny to post a picture of me with black and blues and say that I misread the challenge. That was for domestic violence.
That's what I was talking about with my sister today. Of like, I was like, yeah, I think it may have been you. I was like, yeah, I had one friend that didn't even get asked. Like, how is that inclusive for all women? And
I know. And then I just go and kill myself. And then I have my own movement for suicide, where it's like, please include everyone. Otherwise, people's feelings are going to get hurt and someone's going to kill themselves.
Yeah. Well, doesn't it also feel like we were just talking about for like the feminist movement is so confusing because sometimes it feels like even and women within the feminist movement treat us as if we have we're in the Special Olympics.
I did David Temple's, and it's going to tie into this, his Unpopular Opinion podcast, which is really fun. He's been on the show. Go listen to it. And my unpopular opinion was like, after the Me Too movement, everyone was like, this is why we need more women in positions of power, why we need more women in the workforce. And I was like, I disagree. I would rather deal with like, women are so catty. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember I had a job where I asked the supervisor to take off, I forget the days that they were, and she denied me, and then she took those days off. Like, that's just the type of stuff that women do behind your back. Like, if you and someone else show up the same day, like the same shirt on, it's like a problem. Meanwhile, dudes are awful and they'll try and fuck you, but I'd rather put up with that because at least you see that coming. Whereas, like, the other backstabbing shit, you don't even see.
Yeah,
so it's like,
when they want to fuck you, you can use it to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're like,
but like the other way. Yeah.
What were you going to say? Sorry.
The other way at the office I used to work at, I seen multiple fights, even fist fights between women. I've never seen that with two dudes.
Yeah. Oh, I think most of like the conflict in our office was, usually the other woman mad about other women in the office with what they got away with or what they got.
I know dudes don't care about that. They're just trying to rape you in the Xerox room, like, which is something
stay away from the Xerox room.
Exactly, but they're not going to try and get you fired.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't support more women in the and even if it's like all girlfriend. That's the other thing too. You ever go into an environment where it's like all women who are already friends, and then you try and even get in with them, and it's like the hardest thing, and you're like, I just want to work. I don't care about any of this stuff.
I don't want to go to
I don't care about you guys. Exactly. You want to go mingle? I don't want to mingle at anyone's dumb parties.
We're going to have a mixer where we all wear the same thing and then talk about problems that we've had in the workforce where you're like, guys don't have to do this.
And then people are like, well, women have to act like that. If they act like they're strong women, then they get called bitches. And you're like, probably fits. I mean, I get it. If a guy is a strong person, I don't know, people think men are also dicks.
Yeah.
I'll say this. When I met the Clintons for 5 minutes, Bill was way nicer to me than Hillary. We all took a picture. Bill was going to take a selfie with me, and Hillary wouldn't let him. And I was like, it's a little late to be trying to, like, reel him in. Like, he's already fucked everyone. I don't know what you think's going to happen.
Well, maybe just she's... Oh, sorry. I was just thinking maybe she's like, everyone hates me, so I might as well just lean into being really who I am because it doesn't even matter anymore because I don't have to run for president.
I guess people are like, well, they're just out to dinner and, they just want to enjoy their meal. And it's like, well, too bad. That's like the right you give up as a famous person. And I know that's shitty, but that's the way it is. Yeah. If you want to be famous and like, just eat at home.
Yeah. What if you had a problem?
I need pictures for Instagram.
Yeah.
I need, that's at the end of the day. I need pictures for Instagram.
Yeah. Because if she was a good feminist, you're like, hey, if you don't take a photo with me, then I'm going to have to get in my bathing suit to get all the likes. And that's demoralizing.
I should just been like, do you want me to blow Bill right now? How do you think that would have went? It's insane. So weird. The two of them were when they were talking, I was like, I would love to know what they're talking about. They were just like deep in thought over gyros. And I was like, what do you think they're talking about right now? Do you think they were talking possibly about Epstein?
I don't know. I mean, that shit feels like he's more in line with Epstein than Trump is.
I think so. I think they both probably went, but I feel like Bill went a lot.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound like Trump's so much. I don't even think Trump went on the island.
I think Bill went so often that he had one of those cards that you stamp where you get to fuck a free 13-year-old. I think he got his quota in many times. He's like, I love like, this Bill.
Place. They're like, we're going to have to make your card bigger with more punch holes in it so it takes you longer to get to that free 13-year-old.
He's like, I love a challenge. I'm surprised his girlfriend's still alive.
Who? Epstein's?
Ghislaine. Yeah.
Yeah. If I was her, I would throw everyone under the bus and just, what does it have to hurt? She could probably get a really great plea deal by just like dropping so many names.
She might still go to jail, but she could write a really good book.
Yeah.
How could she get rich in jail? I don't know.
I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore. Because that's what I thought. And then apparently my family shot that down. And
I thought you said your family shot someone. I was like, Sarah, this is probably not the place to confess to your family shooting someone.
We're in Texas. That'd be crazy.
That's true.
No, I have no idea. I don't know if you can sell a book while you're in prison. Because then I think everybody would be doing it.
I feel like you could probably you could write a book and then give it to someone you trust to publish it.
Yeah, and then maybe get all the money goes to your family rather than to you. I think there's a thing that you cannot profit off your crime.
Tell that to OJ.
Well, he wasn't found guilty of the murder of Nicole Simpson. But I mean, that book is so crazy if I never read it. This is how I would have done it.
If I did it, did you ever read that book? I should read it.
No, we should. That should be our book club.
I'm going to read it so I can add on to my OJ jokes. I'm fascinated by him, and I know that we go back to wanting to meet people from the 90s, but he is the top.
Well, him and crime of the century.
Tanya Harding.
Yeah.
I wrote to both of them, and neither one of them have written me back.
I know. I saw that. Who did I see? Oh, Patton Oswalt tweeted for Legion of Skanks for Lewis to be voted president of the Skanks. And I'm like, how did he get Patton? Does Patton listen to the Skanks, or did he have any idea what he was signing up for?
I think he paid. I feel like Lewis probably paid him to do cameo. I don't know the real. I don't know if he actually. That doesn't see. Patton seems like he wouldn't be on board with anything they're saying.
Yeah.
But maybe they're friends. I have no idea.
I mean, did you see the Twitter argument between Louisa and Lewis online? Isn't it weird they're Lewis and Louisa? It's almost like they could transition into one another, and because she's the female
Spanish,
version.
Hispanic. Yeah. What's funny is me, her, and Lewis used to do. What was that show that we used to do together? Mashup, and she was the booker for a while. I only seen Jay asking to have a conversation with some of the people that I guess are trying to police comedy and like the use of words, and I seen him reach out to Louisa, and she kind of turned it down at first. I don't know if she said yes eventually, but he was like, you always come at us, on Twitter and stuff, but when I see you, you're, so nice to me. You always book me on shows. And he's like, it just seems like a little hypocritical. And I don't know, didn't they agree to meet up somewhere?
I don't know. Out of all of them, though, I would talk to Big J, because Lewis can get emotional and scared. Not that I think he's dangerous, but you know what I mean, where you're like, I remember one time he wanted to talk to us about the podcast, and I'm like, I can only talk to you on Facebook Messenger. Like, I can't. Because he will. I was like this, you will convince me to do something that I don't want to do.
Lewis could convince you to kill your whole family on this vacation. If he was there in person, you would just be like, I submit. Yeah, I think he's the most easy to talk to. And I also,
he's relentless.
I think Dave Smith is really nice, but he also talks very fast and can confuse you into just being like, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like Jay would be the most understanding. He's also just very persuasive. So
yeah.
What was the fight between Lewis and Louisa, though?
Oh, I guess I was just making I'm confused. I was confusing just Lewis as being Legion of Skanks. I remember it was Big J
okay.
that started the post, and then they started doing it back and forth on Twitter. And so I just know that Lewis gets involved in it. And I always think of him as I actually think of Lewis as actually president of the Skanks.
Well, it's Ari, though.
Is it?
Yeah, Ari became president of the Legion of Skanks.
How?
I don't know. They had this crazy campaign this whole summer, and he won.
That's crazy. Because I feel like Lewis has the biggest voice. He's so relentless, nonstop.
Yeah, I don't know. Lewis is the type of guy that if you're dating Lewis, her ex-boyfriend just hates you. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of guy that's just I can't believe you're dating that guy.
Yeah.
He's got all of the skanks after me, and I've lost my job at fucking FedEx. For doing nothing. He just got him fired probably for nothing. That's just something that he would do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he has done that, but... So I wonder, are they going to actually have a talk, Louisa and Jay?
I don't know. I mean, now I haven't been on Twitter that much because of...
Because you got shamed?
I got shamed. Well, also, it's hard to get really great reception, so I can't really scroll for hours because we've been driving through the desert for a few hours to get the hiking trail, so I can have access every now and then. So I'll know what's going on with the news and kind of keep up with it and maybe see one or two posts, but I can't really I don't know, really rip through my phone.
You're going to have so much scrolling to do when you get back. Are you looking forward to hours of scrolling?
I am. It's really funny for me to admit where I'm I can't wait when all of this is done, when I can get home and just really rip it through my phone and just fucking scroll for 4 hours straight.
I wonder if people are going to get carpal tunnel just from doing this. Just this.
I know.
People used to get
so
it from
addicting.
typing.
It's a dopamine rush every time I do it. It's because I told you that when I try to do it on my computer, because you can't scroll, I don't find it enjoyable. But on my phone, I'm this is a different beast, and I can be on it for hours.
Yeah, I wonder what it is about that. Because you're right. If you were to go on Twitter on your computer, it's not nearly as satisfying.
No, it doesn't hit me as hard as, and I'm assuming it's because it's just easier to change over fast enough to do it. But I mean, I have to say that I am a lot happier when I stay off the phone and stop reading
enjoy
dumb
life
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, most people on the outside don't know who any of the skanks are. They don't know about any of the stuff we've talked about. They're just enjoying their lives with their white families, and they're not their feelings aren't getting hurt by that booker, whoever it is.
No, but there's also black families that are going on vacation, and they're having a nice life without having to read all the bad news and all that stuff too.
Oh, I think everyone's going on I think it's everyone's going on vacation, not enjoying it. And then you come back. I remember when obviously I didn't have the internet as a kid, but there was so much drama on my block that it was almost like having social media. So you would leave, and then as soon as we came over that fucking George Washington Bridge, you just knew it was coming, where you're going to see who got into a fight with who took a parking spot from somebody else. I mean, there was just so many fights growing up as a kid on that dumb block. And I guess I just assumed everyone grew up like that, and people did not. People aren't hanging out on my block kids hanging out and playing and stuff. It's so much different. But yeah, as soon as we came over, you just got that rush of I knew my mom was going to have to just crunch those roaches because it was the summer. What a weird way to grow up. I thought everyone went through that. That my mother would just have to get herself psyched to go stomp on cockroaches. What a weird thing to have to do.
Yeah, to be just take a deep breath and know that you're about to hit Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, and have to gear up for that.
Yeah. We didn't have that, but I picture you pulling up and then your neighbor walking out onto the driveway and coming in with the news before you even get into your house.
Sarah, driveway? We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. there is nowhere to even park. I never understood my dad wouldn't want to take me and my sister places because he'd say I have a good parking spot. And I never understood that until I started driving and had alternate street parking. What a bitch that is.
Oh, yeah. We parked our car in Long Island City because we heard there is no street cleaning over there and you can park for long periods of time. But we did it a few days early, so we didn't have the access to the card. But it is really funny. Like, New York is weird. And I always think of Racine's joke of, like, do you ever see a parking spot so good that you wish you had a car?
That's funny.
Because there are times where you're like, oh, man.
Well, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I could parallel park.
When I was in the city and I was driving all the time, if I seen a really good park, when I'd be walking, all I would say is, that's a good parking spot. That's a good parking spot. Like, that's the way I would just walk down the street where you're like, it just looks like little opportunities you missed.
Yeah. You're like, oh, you can just, it's just really funny that it does hit your psyche of, like, paying attention to all that stuff. And then now in my mind, I'm like, oh man, all this cafe seating outside in the sidewalk or in the streets gotta be like killing people with cars and parking spots.
Well, it's also just killing people because they're in the middle of the street eating sushi. Do you know people have gotten hit by cars?
No.
Like, you are in the middle because you're in the middle of the street eating tacos or whatever you're eating. And like, that's where people are getting hit when they weren't. There's like people that were just driven right into those dumb outdoor seating and stuff.
Oh yeah, I think
you're in the middle of the street. Yeah, you're in the middle of the street. Thanks for not liking it.
No, sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't care. But it's true. You're basically in the middle of the street asking to get hit. You're daring people not to hit you.
Yeah.
I get it. That's because of COVID.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird thing to be like, just you're so close to getting killed.
Well, I was talking about the one time I walked over the bridge. I think it's the Queensboro Bridge or the Queens Bridge. And when you walk over that, you're just getting like, you come down and you've got like dirt all into your eye and your teeth. When you bite down and you're like, how are people eating outside while there's just like dumb trucks driving past?
It's like eating in a coal mine.
Or like, especially by where the cellar is, I sometimes would eat outside by that cafe. Is it Reggio? What is it called? I forgot.
The one that's right near it, I forget.
Yeah, by
Mamoon's?
It's right next to it. And then
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you eat out there and then every 2 minutes you're getting accosted by a homeless person and you're like, dude, first of all, I have no cash on me. Everything I use is card. And then if I gave out cash to everybody here tonight, it would be like short by $100. And then they're walking the block and you're like, I just talked to you 10 minutes ago.
Well, also, if you give money to one, you can't just be like, I just gave money to someone. I'm good. There's no way to let people know that you've even done the service. No. So it's like, it's relentless with people asking you constantly. I had that one night where I spent, this lady and it started with a good parking spot. There was this lady right by a great parking spot. I asked her if she was holding it. She said no. And then she was right by my window asking me for money. I was going to a show and she just tugged at my, whatever his heartstrings, and I felt bad for her. She made up this whole elaborate story about how she was pregnant with twins. She told me where she lived. She was diabetic. She showed me her diabetic stuff. And because my sister's diabetic, I guess I felt bad. I went and I said, fine, I'll get you something to eat. This lady got a fucking huge hero, a big thing of orange juice, and like a thing of almonds that was like $8. Yeah. I spent $20 on this lady, and she said she was going to name one of her kids after me because she was having twins. And I'm going to say I bet neither one of those kids are named after me.
Yeah.
And then I went to a store after that, and somebody else asked me for money, and you want to be like, I just deposited 20 banks to the homeless fund. I'm not doing it. I'm done for the day.
I know, you're like, go ask that lady. I just gave her a whole bag of almonds. She might be able to spare. So.
Go rob that lady that I just spent $20 on this hero and almonds and orange juice.
Yeah. That like hanging out in the West Village or by Washington Square Park, you're just like, this is pure insanity. You can't hang out for a long period of time there. You're like, I can only wait to meet you, and if it takes more than 5 minutes, I have to go inside somewhere because I'm going to get
Also, the
accosted.
rats will get you. Like, it's either going to be the homeless people hitting you up or the rats. Remember some guy was walking by there when we were doing the podcast, and he had no pants on? And he didn't even look like he was struggling, and he was upset something happened to his pants. He was walking like that's the way he just walks with no pants on.
Yeah, he was walking like he had pants on, but he had no pants on. It is really fake it till you make it.
I guess so. There's probably an agent out there that's like, this guy is convincing me he's wearing pants right now, and we need that guy on set.
We need him. I mean, that's the kind of confidence that I wish I had. I should just walk in the next time I get a general meeting with no pants and act like I have pants on so they can see how confident I am.
You should do that.
Do you think we'll ever get meetings again?
I don't know. I never got meetings before. I kind of don't care anymore. Like,
yeah, I can't. I'm like,
Marlene asked me if I wanted to do something, and it was like for Comedy Central, and I was like, Comedy Central doesn't like me, so you can just submit me, but like they're not going to give it to me. And I go, they like Sarah, and she goes, I already submitted her. I go, well, I'd put your money on Sarah.
No, I haven't heard from Marlene in ages, but I remember one time she's like, they said they're not doing the digital stand up right now, but they'll do it again.
It's about that.
Yeah, and
that's what it was about.
Like, do you have anyone that you can crash on their couch in Chicago? Because they're just going to do Chicago comics. And you're like, I'm not going to crash on a couch.
We're too old to crash. I'm going to crash with all of my stuff. It's so weird. You were like so intrusive walking in at 40. You just don't have the same stuff like when you're 20 and you can crash with a bag. I got all of my dumb shit with me.
I just like for a TV or a gig that should be paying well, they're like, could you just show up and just kind of crash on a couch?
Well, also
I don't need it that bad.
Well, I guess she knew you'd be into doing it, so she submitted you. I'm just your go-between. I'm your secretary between you and Marlene. But they're gonna do it outside in October, so I assume it's gonna be in LA or Florida or somewhere hot.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I'm ready for an outdoor show.
Well, then you might be doing it.
They're like, we don't even have a mic, so.
It's so weird how Comedy Central still, like, how they fired everybody from that used to work there, and they're still trying. It's like adorable, kind of.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know who's doing anything right now. Like, I think I'm outside of show business.
We're all outside of show business. It took one pandemic to see how closely related we are to showbiz. We are so close to being totally out of it.
Didn't we get back on the whiteboard again?
We did, but I have to be honest. I would not bet that anything's going to come out of that. We're back on the whiteboard.
Should we explain have we explained the whiteboard? It's our ongoing joke that
that we keep trying to sell a TV show, and we just keep going from whiteboard to whiteboard.
Because they'll put a whiteboard in the office, and you see that they've jotted down like other stuff that they're working on, and then I think one time we're like, I think I saw Vadge on the whiteboard, and then another time we showed up and it wasn't on the whiteboard, and that's our ongoing joke. It makes us feel like we're in the business if our name is at least on the whiteboard. But I
feel like the whiteboard is just a board. I think the whiteboard is just a board of white people not to work with at this point. That's what the whiteboard is. It's just like Sarah and Adrian, and there's a big X.
Yeah, we're on the whiteboard. So, yeah. But we did get more Patreon members. Our Patreon numbers are going up again, and we appreciate that.
Guys, thank you so much. We want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Until you leave, and then you can fucking die. Don't you feel like that? Like, I was walking home the other day, and I was like, all these people on my block, I was like, right now, I don't care about any of these neighbors. Like, if all of them were walking into fire, I would just wave. Like, I wouldn't even try and stop them to be like, hey, you're going to get killed on the other side. I would just be like, hey.
Well, you can't, because if you do, you're a Karen.
Even if you try and help people, you're a Karen.
I'm like, I'm afraid to say anything. I don't say anything to anybody anymore. A building could be burning down, and I'm like, no way, Jose, I'm not falling for that trap.
Well, I find it easy to not be a Karen because I don't wear makeup when I go out, and I don't want to be on any videotapes. So even if I see something that really upsets me, I just make a mental note and move on.
Yeah,
I don't want to be on fucking. I don't want to be on fucking anyone's dumb web blogs. I don't want to. I'm just like, I'll be angry and keep it to myself, and that's what the rest of the world should do.
I'll share it on a podcast. I know I had this fear. I was at Astoria Park with my friend, and we were shooting a video, and we brought a soccer ball because it was taking place in the park. And so while he was shooting other people, I was just playing, and this kid came along and was like, hey, can I play with the soccer ball? And I was like, yeah. And then he came back again. He took the ball, and I was like, that's weird. He just took it. And then but I was like, I know where he is. Let's just shoot our scenes, and then we'll let him play because we don't need it right now. And then we went down there to get it, and I was like, oh my God, what if this turns out to be like, when you have no intentions of anything, and the next thing you know, you're on national news, and I'm just getting canceled.
They're like, this white lady took this ball from this little poor child. His family saved all their money up from a GoFundMe for their family member who was killed, and now you're taking this, and you're just going to be villainized. Actually, though, what a nice way to just be canceled, and then you can really go buck wild on everything because you've already been canceled.
Yeah, I mean, and then they find a tweet from 2011 that I thought I deleted, and then
about one day tricking a kid into taking a ball, and then asking for it back, and then becoming a media sensation. I wonder though too, if you just staged one of those dumb Karen things, if that could work to your advantage, where you just blow up from it, and then the other person's like, I was lying. None of that happened, but I wonder if you could have that happen to blow up.
Like, I'm just walking around neighborhoods calling the cops on everybody with, like, those wraparound sunglasses.
I think you'd have to do it with only one person. You'd have to have an in with one person who you're like, hey, I'm going to be a real fucking Karen, and you're going to go with it, and then we're going to come out after we both are famous, and then you're going to say, I just made that all up. And then, you know what'll happen? The person will be like, I never met that woman before in my life.
And then they're like, why did she do that? And you're like, no, there's no such thing.
There's no reason to explain why somebody would do something like that. That's what he would say.
And then they're like, it was like, kind of weird that
we had
her
an agreement.
Instagram handle. Yeah. I feel like every now and then I'll watch a video online, and I'm like, this feels like this was staged. It was a guy, like it was somewhere in Europe. It was weird. It was a guy, this girl was taking photos, and she looked cute. It wasn't anything crazy that she was wearing, and he was just calling her a slut. And I was like, that just seems like so, I mean, even a guy wouldn't call this girl what she was wearing, any shitty guy, just a slut. And even if he did, you would honestly know that he was like kind of a crazy person or something not there. And then from the side was this girl with the shaved head. She comes into frame and then hits him over the head with a beer bottle. And I was like, I think this is feminist porn. It felt so staged to me.
There's some girls just rubbing their fucking bean to that, just getting off, rewinding that one. They're just rewinding that one part as the bottle just comes across his dumb face. And they're like, replay that. That's my spot right there.
And then it probably sells, like, you put it on some, like, you know, what is it, World Star, and then it gets viral, and then it makes so much money from ad sales that I was like, you could stage those kind of videos, like Karen videos, and make so much money. And then they were like, hey, this girl, I think this is the same Karen from the other Karen video.
And you're like, I think this is her job, just to be a professional Karen. There's one video that I think people do that too. There was these two white chicks who were like garbage white trash. And then one of them is wearing like an American sweat, you know, like American flag t-shirt. And the lady behind her has like an old lady house dress on, and her hair's a mess.
I think I've seen this about Ronnie. Is it?
I was going to say Reggie, but Reggie, yeah, it's one of those names, and they're going to kill him, and they're looking for him, and he's It's, you know, it's fake because the lady in the back, her hair is a fucking mess. It's the same reason why I would never get caught on camera doing a Karen move, is because she looked like a fucking mess. It's fake. There's no way it's really. Everyone's like, this seems like it's probably fake.
But when you watch it, you're like, I'm actually really impressed with their self-awareness that they've hit this character really well here.
I mean, they could be trained actors. Right now, no one's working. So what better to do than try and get viral videos right now?
We should try to come up with a viral video.
There's probably a ton of people right now who are just doing Law and Order type of videos where they pretend they uncovered a murder and then they're going to send it in to get like on some show.
I'll let you do that. I'll just lay in a field with my underpants around my ankles. You can find my body.
I'll just put ketchup all over your pussy. And they'll be like, he stabbed her repeatedly in the vagina.
And then I'll leave some weird little stuff around me that will lead to solving the crime. Just random objects.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I've always wanted to do this. This is kind of psychotic. But you remember, like, for a while on Facebook, every now and then at 2 a.m, you would get a Facebook message from some guy from a country in Africa, and it would just say, hi pretty lady, or something like that. I always wanted to be like, hey, and then have a conversation with them and see how long it would take for me to get to meet up with them and get murdered.
I think you could do it, but the thing is this, they just want you to give them your credit card information and stuff. So once you didn't do that, they would move on to somebody else. There's a comic that had a really funny sketch. You're frozen right now. I don't know if we have a shitty connection or something.
Oh, yes. I probably do because I'm in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it says my internet connection is unstable. I understood it. They probably want my credit card information, right?
They want something for you to give them. But you know who had a really funny joke? They did a sketch about it, and they were like, you know how people always from Nigeria are saying they're going to give you $1 million?
Yeah.
He did a funny sketch where he's like, guys, I did it, and I got $5 million. Like, it's him going to Nigeria, and he's, like, living in a mansion with this guy. It's really funny. Danny LaBelle, he did it. I thought it was so funny.
Oh, I remember him. That is really funny because it's like, it just... Everyone, after a while, knew the stigma of, I guess, the Nigerian scam. But it really does work because they keep doing it. Because we were talking, apparently my dad's old secretary, her dad was giving money to this lady from online that he met, like, in that situation. And that he was doing it so much that even his own bank had to intervene and be like, you can't, this is, you know, whatever, irregular activity, and this is a scam, and
that's
we're going to
insane
intervene.
For a bank to be like, a bank at that point, he's sending them so much money that they're getting less interest off his money, and it's affecting them. How much money did he send these people? I mean, that's like incredible.
I know it probably was like a decent amount, but I mean, it had to be going on for a while because they definitely had to step in, and I was like, that is so fascinating that people fall for that. I mean, my mom was telling me on our drive here, she was getting those Social Security phone calls where they're like, we see that there's been a problem with your Social Security when you filled out your tax income thing or whatever from 2019. And then I had that happen, and I didn't know that it was a scam. And then I had to call my dad, and he's like, the U.S. government will never call you about tax information. They'll always send you a letter. And then I was like, okay. But now you want to be like, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that on my tax forms. Like, where can I meet you? You sound hot.
You're like, please don't shut my electricity off. Because they always threaten you with something that's not even related. They're like, well, your Con Ed's going to get shut off. And you're like, well, I need it. It's the summer. Please don't shut my Con Ed off. I remember one time a similar thing. They called me from the IRS. And they were like, I did something. And I got disconnected, and I instantly Googled blah, blah, whatever it was. And, like, everyone's like, this is a scam. Other people have gotten this. No one's going to call you. But yeah, at first you're like, am I in trouble with the whole government? Is the whole government going to come after me?
For my $800?
Yeah, they don't care.
No. It's so funny. I mean, but they're so good when you first, if you don't know about that scam, when you listen to that guy's voice, it's so... like very confident, very like calm and collected. And he's like, I understand that this is a very stressful moment for you, but is there any way that you can pulse out money and we can have somebody come by and pick up that money for you? And it is like crazy where you're like, while it's happening, you're like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, why would the government just like come by? We're going to send a guy over in a car and he can go pick up that money that you owe the U.S. government.
And then it's like a 93 Toyota Corolla. And you're like, the government has such a shitty car, but this seems legitimate. I'm going to give you $1,000 in cash right now to definitely make sure that my Con Ed doesn't get shut off. That's how they get you, though. They scare you based on, like, it's just fear, like, fear-mongering, getting you scared that, like, something's going to happen. My credit's so bad already that, like, when those things happen, I don't even care. Because I'm like, go ahead. My credit is so awful at this point. But, like, it gets people scared that have, like, good credit. They don't want anything to happen, especially if you are a new citizen or if you're here illegal and someone calls you like that. You don't want any trouble. So you feel like, let me pay these people. I don't want to make a stink. And I think that's how they get a lot of people that are just scared.
Oh, yeah. Well, because then they do things where they know your name. And then you're like, how did you know my name? And then I realize, because I said, thanks for calling, blah, blah, blah. This is Sarah speaking. How may I assist you? And then you don't realize that you've been giving out your name or, like other ways. It's just like really easy to get that information. Like we didn't know, you can find her address online easily in the white pages.
You could do a Google search. We're all very Googleable.
Yeah. I completely forgot about
again.
that. And then I was like, oh yeah. Remember when your name was in the phone book with your, oh shit. Well, we're getting close to the end. Did I freeze again now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Now you're good. I see you.
So we'll just wrap it up since it seems like internet, but we're almost near an hour anyway. But I was just gonna say, remember when your name and last name would be in the phone book with your address. So that's why I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense why there would be my name online in the white pages.
Yeah, you can find out a ton of stuff just with a Google search. Like, especially I've done those too where they're like, you ever do the thing when you're young and you're like looking for an ex-boyfriend's information? They're like, well, for $9.99, we'll give it to you. And then you fill all this shit out and it's nothing.
Yeah, you're like, I could have done that myself. And now I know you're good at it.
You're
and
breaking
I know
up
my
again.
sister-in-law is really good at it. Fuck!
It's okay.
Is it working?
You're good now. You're just breaking up sound a little bit.
Okay, well, at least we're recording on this, but like maybe we should wrap it up since this is a frustrating thing and we're near the hour.
Okay. Maybe do you want to do it tomorrow in your house? Is the Wi-Fi better there?
Yeah, I'm going to do it at the house tomorrow. So I'm going to leave here tomorrow morning and then I'll set it up there and then it'll be fine.
Okay.
It'll be fine with this. It was just a little glitchy every now and then.
Sorry, guys. I just feel like everyone's always upset with us. Well,
it's like,
guys,
it's so
don't blame Sarah.
hard.
Sarah does all the work. So if you want, just take it all out on me. Because I'm pretty good at ignoring stuff. So just, Sarah does a lot of this work, and she's really keeping Vadge together. So please just bear with us and know that we're doing the best we can, and we're not great at this. That's why we're not famous.
Yeah, that is exactly why we haven't blown up. Adrian's our customer service rep. But email us at vadgepodcast@gmail.com. Always like hearing from you guys. And then follow
I think we
us
have
on
some
Instagram.
emails.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think somebody either reached out through
We'll
Patreon.
do them tomorrow.
So we'll do that. All right. Well, this has been fun.